Hello, this is Reza from Radacat, and in this video I'm going to talk about dynamic row-level security, what it is, why should you use it, how to set up your Power BI dataset so that a dynamic row-level security is applied, what type of DAX measure you have to write. Let's check this through an example. To show you a simple example, I've created this dataset. So in this dataset, I have two tables. One of them is sales transaction, which shows at which date, which sales representative have made how much sales amount. On the other table, I have the sales rep details themselves, which is the ID of the sales rep, their name, and their email. This email address is matching the Power BI email account that they have, which is then useful for setting up dynamic row-level security. If you are new to the whole row-level security, I would suggest you to have a look at, to watch my first video about static row-level security, what is row-level security about, and then jump into this. Row-level security in a nutshell is about securing your data in a way that everyone see their own data. Dynamic row-level security talks about doing this based on the login information of the user rather than hard coding the user details in the filter criteria. So I want to use this file in my Power BI example. So I'll open this Power BI example, which I have just started. I'll connect to that Excel file. It wouldn't matter where that file sits because you can connect to it from anywhere, especially if you are importing the data. Doesn't matter if it is Excel file or whatever data sources you are using. Any data sources, you can apply dynamic row-level security on it. I have these two tables that I import into my model. After the loading, Power BI automatically detects the relationship between the two tables. For row-level security, it is important that you have the right relationship between the tables. I would suggest you to go and check out some videos I have created about the relationship between tables and what does that mean in Power BI. In this case, I see that Power BI automatically created the relationship, the ID of the sales rep with the sales rep field in the sales transaction, which is the way that I wanted. And this way of relationship means that Power BI would apply filtering this way. So if we filter the sales rep table, it would automatically filter the sales transaction table. Now in my report, I will go and create a very simple report. Nothing really special in terms of visualization. I would just use a table visual with the name of the sales rep. I can even add their email address, the date of transaction, sales amount. So let's say this is what I want to show for each user. Now, at the moment we see everything, but the idea is that every user should see their own data. Like for example, when Layla logs in, Layla would see only one transaction. When Jack logs in, Jack would see only one transaction. But if I log in, I should see my two transactions. So how we do that? So in Power BI, we can go to the modeling to manage roles. This is a place that we can create a new role. The sales rep table is here. We can add a filter criteria and say that, for example, their email like equals to reza@radacat.com and then call this role Reza. But if we do that, we have to create one for every user. If you are building a payroll system, this means you have to create, let's say, the number of users in your organization. If you have 10,000 employees, you have to create 10,000 users, which is not the right way of doing it. This is static row-level security, which we don't want to do it. Dynamic row-level security is saying that instead of doing it this way, we would use some system functions to detect who logged into the system. Based on that login information of the person, then we can go and filter the data for that person. So there's a DAX function, which I'm going to show you that before building this. I would create a measure for that. So a new measure, I would use the name user for this measure, and I would say this is equal to UserPrincipalName. UserPrincipalName or UserName are two functions that will give you the login ID of the user. In the local system, they might be slightly different, but in the Power BI website, they would both give you the login, the email ID of the person logged into the Power BI. I will show you here how this works. So this is user principal name, lowercase, capital case wouldn't matter because it's a DAX function. And I would show that as a measure, as a card visual in here. So this automatically comes as a card visual. And as you can see, this user is actually at the moment my local user. So this is my local machine and then / my local user. If in your local machine you log in with your Office 365 account, this would have showed you the Office 365 account. So that's pretty much what we need. We have this login details that we can then use to filter the data. I can go to the modeling to manage roles, and here I can create a new role. I would just need one role. I don't need more than that. I would call it user. I can use the UI here, or I can just switch to DAX editor and type in my DAX criteria right here. So I would switch to DAX editor. The only criteria that we need here is that the email field should be equal to this function that we used, UserPrincipalName. Now we could use the measure, or we can just type in UserPrincipalName. It wouldn't make any difference. I just created the measure to show you what is the outcome. You can directly use the function name here. Okay, I would click on save. This is saved already. Now you can test this locally, but if your local user is different from what you have in your data set, you probably won't see anything, which is what I'm going to show you. If I click on view as, and then I click on user, you can see that this user can't see anything because this user doesn't exist in this data set. The reza at redacat.com exists. So I can change it, but I would publish it to the website so that you can see the effect of that on the website, because in the website it would catch the right user. I would save this file. I can call it DRLS sample, and I would publish it to the website, checking what user I'm using. So I will publish it. The person who published the report is the report owner. Report owner or report developer would see anything regardless of the row level security. So after this publishes, when I go to the Power BI website, I would still see all the transactions. Let's go and check it out. I would go to the Power BI website, bringing this window over here. And I see my report in here. Now here you see that my user has changed. So this is the user exactly I used to log into the system. As you can see, this is my user account logging in, and that is exactly at the account that is detected. But I still see everything, and the reason for that is that I'm the report developer. Now I can share this report with others so that they can see their own data. The way that I would do it first is I would go to the data set for this report. And for this data set, I would go to the security section of that. Here I would see all the row level security configurations, and I can go and add other users in here. Now I can add users individually, but I would suggest you to create a Office 365 group, including everyone in your organization, and add that group here, because then later on, if someone adds to your company or organization, you don't have to come and change it here. You just go to Office 365 and add and remove people from there. And you don't have to be worried about would they have access to this data set or not, because they would see only their own data. If there's no data for them, they wouldn't see anything. So easiest is that. But for the sake of this test, I would just add myself individually. So I add my user in here and save it. I also need to share this report, of course, with my user. So I would search for this user. Here it is. I'm going to share this. I'll just copy the link. Now I would log into Power BI using my other user. So here is logging to Power BI with my other user. Now this user account, as you can see, is different. This is reza@radacat.com. The system recognized that this is reza@radacat.com, and it only showed me these 2 transactions that I have. I don't see the 4 transactions if I show this side by side with the main report in the view of the report author. Here we have 4 transactions versus here we have only 2 transactions. If I can maximize this would be great. Yeah. Here I have only 2 transactions, and this is not just for this visual. Every report page that you have, even if you have different 2-3 different reports coming from the same data set, they would all follow this logic. User would only see the records that they are allowed to see. That is dynamic row level security. If a user adds or removes to your organization, you don't have to open the PBIX file to make a change. You don't have to save the file, you don't have to republish the file. All you need to do in this case is first make sure that that user has access to this report. And if you use Office 365, that will make it much easier, because then you would just add or remove people from that. And the second thing is that if you want to synchronize this table, you have to make sure that you have that user added to this table, which again doesn't really mean that you have to open the Power BI file, because this table usually comes from a data source, Excel file, SQL Server database, Snowflake table, or anything like that. You just need to make sure that the new data is populated in that. I have a different video explaining about how you can use some PowerShell commands to extract all the Office 365 user accounts into a table. You can then schedule it, and that can be the source for dynamic row level security. Dynamic row level security is not always as simple as this. This is just like 2 tables. In real world scenarios, you don't have 2 tables in your model. You might have 10 tables, and the relationships would make things tricky. For example, dynamic row level security can be trickier when you have many-to-many relationships, when you have hierarchies, when you have hierarchy and many-to-many relationships combinations. I have written blog articles about each of those, so make sure to go and check at Radacat blog about all those examples and the code files for those. I hope this helped you to understand what is dynamic row level security, how to apply it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me in the comments below. I would be more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you for watching this video.